How's everyone doing? It's good to be back. I know I need to make more videos. Believe me, it's coming in time. I'm just trying to collaborate with my friend, get all the footage that we have put together so that, sorry, I'm going to fix the lighting here, so that we can compile them and publish them on YouTube for you guys to watch. Overall, Serious Viking 4 was a very impressive, very entertaining operation that we were a part of. Um, Throughout the duration of that event, we were tired. It was very strenuous work. And let me tell you, we made a lot of realizations about the physical effort that we put into that event that we really just weren't expecting. For someone like me who has zero military training, but come from a military family, a military background, I put 110% of myself. And as a result, we found out that we were kind of rucking. I don't know if it was 13 miles or 17 miles. But yeah, like at the end of the day, our bodies were physically tired. I think we pushed ourselves to the limit, and all the physical burdens that we put ourselves through that event had carried on through the following week. All those pains carried on for 7 days straight. That's pretty impressive because it shows me that my body can go that limit. Um, so now I'm going to jump into the details of the operation. So day one started at about 11 o'clock in the morning or afternoon, however you want to look at it. And our first objective was Objective Betty. It was the closest one, but it was a free for all because Objective Betty was equidistant from the tan command post and the green command post. So really, it was bare teeth. We were trying to throw the heaviest punches that we can right from the get go. And in doing so, we ended up taking Objective Betty, which was a very good thing. From that standpoint, that was the first objective that we took. So we scored the first points on the board. Um, the remaining points had to be taken in other parts of the field. Now, that would have been Objective Nicole, which was up in the woods, up towards the northern area of the AO. And then there was also some of the other objectives that were more concentrated in the city. There was one objective that we could not get to just because there were operations being conducted by SEAL Team 4 or I think CAG, which a lot of you people will recognize the name Delta. Um, can't really tell you exactly which team was there, but that's what was going on. They were using the metro station for like chemical attacks or something like that. So we could not use that part of the AO. Besides that, the um, we could use the city however we wanted to. Um, that was a pretty good fight because in that first evolution, we took control of a lot of ground and we forced them all the way back. Um, Closer towards the second evolution, this is gearing more towards the night. We didn't have any nighttime optics. All we had was our own vision, our flashlights, tracer units, anything that we could use besides the very expensive equipment that we lacked. That was, I wouldn't say successful. I'd say it was very medium because it showed that the green team pushed back. They put a little bit more effort into the night game because I think they expected that a lot of the tan people would would kind of camp for the night because they felt comfortable that we would carry on with a victory because of the last evolution. That was not the case. We really had to fight for every objective as hard as we could during that night evolution. Um, I believe they say that Objective Nicole, had been contested during the evening, which I had gone and I had taken Objective Nicole that evening, and we got overrun one time. But I think what they told me was that nobody besides us took Objective Nicole, which is pretty impressive. Um, that evening was, we got to see a lot of cool stuff. Um, that evening alone, I had taken over Objective Betty when there were a scale of 20 tangos in the area. And because it was nighttime, you could see who was dead and who was not because we all had our light systems on our helmet. There were a lot of red lights out there, meaning dead players. So part of going in there and taking that objective was really difficult because even though you saw all these red lights and all these figures on the ground were standing up, it was really hard to distinguish which ones of them weren't actually dead because you're not looking at players who are dead. There are still some who are alive walking amongst those players. It isn't that easy. That's when I really wish, the dead players would just lay down, so that we can distinguish between who's dead and who's not. But even when that became a problem, um, I I went in for the strike. I mean, I was like a sidewinder on the ground. I went in there and I completely obliterated all the enemy ground forces within that area, and I did it swift. Once that was taken care of, I immediately went for Objective Betty and I changed over the control system over to our color, and I think we controlled it for the rest of the night. That was the most exciting, the most violent, the most fun part of that evening that I think I had, besides one other. Me and a friend of mine, who will be in the next videos, um, we decided to explore the metro because SEAL Team 4, whoever was operating that evening, or not evening, that um, they had ended their exercise, so we got to use the metro. Um, that was an interesting experience because we did not have a lot of friendly forces in that area, and it was just the three of us. So we went into the metro just to get a feel for how many tangos were inside occupying it, and it turned out to be a squad-sized element. So we had about 7 or 8 people that was in that metro. Um, we tried to think outside of the box. Instead of fighting through the metro, we decided to add another dimension to it. We went on the outside of the metro along the walls, and we entered from other doorways, other hatches, and we did things such as assaulting from behind, assaulting from the flank, and that's one of those things that people need to stay on top of, is because when you take over the metro, you can get hit from any direction, from any door. It sucks. It really does. But being on the attacking side of that was awesome. It was. We almost got taken out completely by a grenade and by somebody with a HPA, but that didn't end up happening. We took another route and we came in from behind. We took out the 2 people, 3 people in the rear, and we assaulted them from behind. I took another doorway left on the outside and then crept up closer to the enemy than they thought I was going to be. And I was within 15 feet of them, hidden behind a wall. And when I rounded the corner, I executed them in fashion, and we ended up taking over the metro that evening. Really cool experience. Um, Evolution gone, done with. Came back the next morning. Turns out the competition is almost even. It really is. So every ground that we can cover, every objective that we can take, every move, every second counted in this last evolution. And I sincerely mean that. It was a hard fought battle down to the end. This was the evolution where I showed you guys the drone footage of me killing those guys. I got a little bit of information from somebody in the comment section who told me that if I had done that drone strike about 5 minutes earlier, which I commanded the attack 5 minutes earlier, it takes a while for the strike to actually hit. I would have taken out 16 people. That's 2 squads full. And I think with that amount of enemy out of that area of operations, we could have taken that objective for sure. But that drone strike was done and over with. I went back to link up with my squad, and we held objective Nicole the entire evolution, which was awesome. I tried lending a strategic suggestion to my squad commander that we should attack objective Betty from our flank, as well as have another squad-sized element to push up from command, so that way objective Betty would be attacked from 2 flanks. It would be overrun, and we would have taken over objective Betty with due diligence, and we would have won. I remember in one of the earlier evolutions, I tried to take over objective Betty, and I got to the control panel, and the problem is that I did not know the code because nobody told me, but it was in the ops org, and it was one of those details that slipped through my mind, because there's a lot of information there for you to memorize, and you just can't retain all of it, especially if it's your first event at Third Coast Airsoft. So had I entered in the codes, we would have won. But even if I didn't punch in the codes, the true result of the event was that we lost by 30 points. Now that could have been holding a position for 30 seconds. It's literally that small. That's why I said every second counts. So in the back of our minds, it kind of counts as a win for us, but we know that we just need to do a better job at communicating some of these details, making sure that everybody knows, hey, this is the code if you end up taking this objective, or hey, I really need you to cover the back door because if we get sideswiped or taken from the rear, we're never going to take this objective and we'll just lose the game. But all in all, that experience was very keen. I loved it. And I really wish I would have gone and done it at Iron Horse at American Milsim, because I hear that's an experience. I've never been to an American Milsim event, but I am going here next month at Operation Black Site 2. Make sure that you guys stay tuned for that, because I will be posting updates, posting videos, whatever I can do to entertain you guys, because I love making these videos and I want you guys to enjoy the same experience that I had firsthand at these events. All right, guys, that about does it. I'll catch you guys next time.